G'day people and welcome. I'm Sharon. Today I want to talk to you about setting up a USB for embroidery designs for a Janome or Elna embroidery machine. This is an embroidery that I designed a long time ago, and it eventually morphed into number 16 on my 100 design set. It's a JEF file. Janome and Elna use JEF files or JEF plus files. There's a few permutations on the .jef thing that work on the Janome embroidery machines. Where you put a JEF file onto a USB determines whether your machine can see it at all or whether you have to go looking for it, because the Janome and Elna machines default to a particular place when they go looking for things. I want you to imagine that this is your USB. It's got folders in it, and if you have formatted your USB in your sewing machine, it will have that folder called EMB. It may also have ORD. When you format a USB with the machine, it will put a folder inside the EMB folder called EMBF, and it will put one inside the ORD folder called ORDF. You are not obliged to use them, nor are you obliged to leave them there. They are pretty much placeholders. You can put designs in them if you want to, but you don't have to. If you have got a combined normal sewing and embroidery machine. My personal experience with the ORD folder, if you've got one and you've got a combined machine, is that I don't use them anyway. There is nothing that I would do with that makes it worthwhile me spending the time to put anything onto a folder in a USB. So I just don't use them. You can put other folders in your USB, so receipts, bank statements, tax, documents, whatever you like, doesn't matter. Your sewing machine is only ever going to look at that one and potentially that one. If you are in ordinary sewing mode, your machine will go looking in the ORD folder if you ask it to look at things. It won't go looking for embroideries. And in fact, if it's in ordinary sewing mode, it can't see embroideries. It's blind to .jef things. On the other hand, if you are in embroidery mode, your machine can only look for things, or it will only look for things in the embroidery mode, and it can't see the things that you've got in ordinary sewing. Some of the older machines, you can't actually find your way around that menu at all. Some of the newer ones you can, but it's going to go looking in EMB if you're in embroidery mode, and it's going to look in ORD if you are in ordinary sewing mode. And while you're in those modes, it can only see the things that are relevant to those modes. If you had a design and it was this .jef design, and you put it in here, your sewing machine does not go looking for things in receipts. It also doesn't like it if you put that outside of any of the folders. It's not looking there. It's not looking in ORD. The only place it looks for designs is in embroidery. And you might think that would work, but in fact the machine will go looking in the embroidery folder not for designs but for other folders. So a number of the older machines will not ever see that in there. Some of the newer ones will notice it and you can find it, but I would not recommend you do it that way. So we're going to take this design out. One of the things you will notice about designers is that we're really useless at naming our designs, and there's a good reason for that. I've got one there that's a grid, and it would make sense to call it a grid, except that I've got several others that are also pretty much grids. And the only way that you get around that is that they just get numbers. I have a catalogue that comes with my design set, and that catalogue will allow you to look through and go, oh, I want design 23, which is the rose. Or I want design whatever. When you actually get into the machine, you can see what they look like, and they will be in that same order that they are numerically. And that's where the catalogue really comes in and helps. Lots of people give you some sort of a catalogue that has a picture of the design and a number or some sort of a random collection of letters, and that's how you work out what you're looking for on your machine. This is a bunch of designs from the Janome 1835 design CD. On the CD, these ones are all in a folder called Card 4 Variety Series from the Memorycraft 8000. And that was the size we were able to do. If you put that bunch of designs in there, your machine is almost certainly not going to find them because it wants them to be in a folder. Some of the newer machines will show you those designs, but the older ones just won't. They want them in a folder, in that folder. The other thing to remember is your machine will only ever show you one kind of thing at a time. So if you have a bunch of Jeff designs, it will put them on a page, and it will not show you on that page any folders. It will only show designs. If you have got designs of different sizes, as in they go in different hoops, each page will only show you designs that fit in the same size hoops. So it's important to always look and see if your machine is telling you that this is one of 15 pages or one of 1 page or one of 10 pages, because you've got a lot of things to use arrows for to see more. So I'm going to put these designs into what we're calling Variety Series Card 4 folder, so this little baggie, and put them in there. And now when your machine goes looking for designs, it will look in the embroidery folder, it will find that folder, and when you open that up, you can find all the designs that are in it. Card 4 Variety Series is what Janome called the folder in their catalogue. Isn't that clever? It does make it a lot easier to find things if you've got a catalogue. You can have many folders inside your embroidery folder, your EMB folder. So I can put the small flower series in there, teddy bear series in there, gold jewellery series in there. I can keep putting different folders of designs in there for as long as I like. And that folder will hold many, many, many folders inside it of designs. Embroidery designs are tiny, and that means that you can put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them into that EMB folder. There are limits to what some of the older machines can look at in terms of USB, but you're not going to run out of space for your designs. So, what does become the difficult bit? Well, naming the folders something that makes sense to you. If, for example, you had bought my designs, I've got 5 folders in there, and maybe 3 of them will work on your machine because 2 of them are just too big for your machine to be able to stitch out. So maybe you could have a folder called Sharon 14 centimetre 100 designs, or Sharon 17 centimetre 100 designs, Sharon 20 centimetre 100 designs. But you don't need the 23 and 28 because they don't fit on your machine. So folders that make sense of what designs you are looking for are really important. Maybe it needs to be something that says flowers because you've got a whole bunch of things that are flowers. Just be careful that you don't put too many designs in that flower folder, because then you will get to the point where you're just looking through hundreds of designs. The difficulty becomes remembering what you've got in a folder there when you get lots and lots and lots of things, and if you don't have a way to tell what the things are that are inside them. I've known enough people who have bought thousands of designs, and then when they want to use them, they can't find them because they haven't managed to find a way to put folder names in that makes sense to them. Or perhaps they've got 5 different USBs and they just don't know which USB things are on. Try to find a way that makes sense to you. Where do you think you would have put it? And also always keep a copy on your computer so that you can go back and put it onto a USB again if you need to. The ORD folder works the same way. It would also want designs to be put into a folder inside there. I personally have never found any real use case for me for saving designs in there. Perhaps you have found a use case for saving designs in the ordinary sewing part of your machine. Over here, I've got a couple of places you might be interested in going. One is to see how I do my quilt as you go, and the other is another video I did on USBs where I showed on a computer screen how I save things. If you're interested in my designs, they're available from my website. $50 US for up to 500 designs. And I shall see you next time.